Shalom. Welcome to Light of the Hill Ministry, and in today's teaching, we will be continuing in the series, The Strange Woman. If you want to follow along, I will be posting it in the first comment box. May we all walk as Yeshua walked. And now, under the teaching in the series. Another way to get rid of the strange woman is to aspire to be like the capable wife. While it's primarily talking about actual women, this can be applied to men as well, since we are all Yeshua's bride. Proverbs 31, 10-31 provides a description of a bride that Yeshua is looking for, starting in verse 10. Who does find a capable wife? For she is worth far more than rubies. Proverbs 31:10. The first thing we see about the bride that Yeshua is looking for is that she is capable. And the Hebrew word for it is chayil, Strong's H 2428, which means strength, efficiency, army, ability, capability, excellence, and comes from the root word chil, Strong's H 2342, which means to be firm, strong, endure, prosper. This is the same word that is used to describe the able men that Moshe's father-in-law instructed him to seek out. The issue here isn't if one finds a wife. The real issue is if one finds one that has strength, is sufficient, and has wealth, and not necessarily monetary means, but in gifts that she can use to her benefit. Men, these are also things Yeshua looks for in our walk with Him. We are all called to be a capable wife and set ourselves apart for Yahweh and His Son. And if Yahweh's bride has all these characteristics, then He considers us more precious than rubies. He trusts her. The heart of her husband shall trust her, and he has no lack of gain. Proverbs 31:11. The Hebrew word here for trust is batach, Strong's H 982, which carries the meaning to trust, be bold, confident, and be secure, courageous. A true loving relationship is strengthened in the trust that one has for each other. They both have boldness and confidence with each other as the relationship grows more and more secure. We are to put our trust in our husband and king and make him our trust. We must put aside doubt and fears, which is the opposite of the strange woman who would want us to be in our fears and doubt. Pure trust in Yahweh results in the blessing of being stable and unshakable by unfavorable circumstances that we may find ourselves in. A trusting heart is a heart that guards the truth and walks in loving obedience to the clear commands of a husband and king that is to be trusted completely. A trusting heart treasures what the husband has said and places it in her heart. I have treasured your word in my heart, that I may not sin against you. Psalms 119:11. And because we trust in Him with our heart, we lack no gain in a relationship with Him. The Hebrew word that is translated as gain is shalal, Strong's H 7998, which means a prey, spoil, plunder, prize, gain, booty. It typically was a result of a victory over the enemy in war. In a relationship, there is protection, and if we trust in Yahshua, we trust that He will gain the victory over the enemy. If we stay faithful to our husband, then our reward will be us in His kingdom, being protected from Satan and his minions. She shall do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Proverbs 31:12. She shall do him is written as Gamalathu and comes from the root verb gamal, Strong's H1580, which means to deal fully or adequately with, to deal out to, wean, compensate, repay. A capable wife of Yeshua then is one who will deal with her husband in a good way and not in an evil way all the days of her life. She does not turn to the right or to the left of what her husband Yeshua says, and his words does not depart from her heart. Joshua 1, verses 7 and 8. Only be strong and very courageous, to guard, to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. She shall seek wool and flax, and with delight she works with her hands. Proverbs 31:13. A bride of Yeshua seeks the things needed and delights in what she finds her hands doing for her husband and others around her. The Hebrew word that is translated as seek is darash. Strong's H1875, which means to resort to, seek out, ask, avenge, consult, investigate, search carefully, make inquiry, question. Wool here is samir. Strong's H6785, which means wool, woolen, shaggy, and is the product taken from animals. It is also used as a metaphor for whiteness. Isaiah talks about this when he says, wash yourself, make yourselves clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Stop doing evil. Learn to do good. Seek right ruling. Reprove the oppressor. Defend the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Come now, let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Isaiah 1:16-18. She makes herself clean and puts away the evil from the eyes of Yahweh. She learns to do good and seeks Yahweh's right rulings, and makes sure those that are weak are defended and cared for. It is our husband Yeshua that we rely on to make us righteous, white, so that we may do the things he wants us to do. And the Hebrew word that is used for flax is pesheth. Strong's H6593, which means flax, linen made from flax, which is a product made from plants. Flax stands for food and clothing. A bride of Yeshua will provide for those in need as well as for those of her household, thus ensuring trust from her husband. She is like the merchant ships. She brings in her food from afar. Proverbs 31, verse 14. The Hebrew word that is translated here as merchant comes from the root word sakar, Strong's H5503, which means to go around or about in business, travel commercially, customs, traders, merchants. The Hebrew word used here for ships is onya, Strong's H591, which means ships, boats, sailors, fleets of ships. The bride of Messiah will go out of her way to bring what one needs and give it out of selflessness. Thus she brings those in need into the household of faith. The Hebrew word that is used here for food is lechem, Strong's H3899, which is meaning bread, meal, provision, food. To a bride of Messiah, lazy is a word not used and not even thought of when she reflects on the obstacles and hindrances bringing supply to the house. She goes in and asks her husband for daily bread for all, and is not afraid to boldly go where he is to get it. Give us the bread of our need this day. Matthew 6:11. She knows the Good Shepherd will not reject such a request into feeding the lambs of Elohim. The bride of Messiah is willing to go at night for her household. She also rises while it is still night and gives game to her household and a portion to her maidens. Proverbs 31, verse 15. She gets up before others in order to prepare for the day ahead. The Hebrew word for rises is kum, Strong's H6995, meaning to arise, stand up, stand, which can often give the meaning of to rise, to become powerful, to stand firm, to maintain oneself, to establish, endure. The Hebrew word used here for night is le'ela, Strong's H3915, which means night. That is a period of time from the setting to the rising of the sun, and so carries the focus of lacking light. The time of lacking light is a period of uncertainty, a time when fear grips the most. This would be seen by some as a time of insecurity, but Yahweh sees both darkness and light. Even the darkness will not be dark from you, but the night shines as the day. As is the darkness, so is the light. Psalms 139, verse 12. The day is yours, and the night is also yours. You have established the light and the sun. Psalm 74, verse 16. The bride of Messiah, then, knows that her bridegroom covers her no matter what time of day it is, as she takes shelter in him and is not afraid. You shall not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, of the plague that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction laying waste at noon. Psalm 91, verses 5 through 6. She can make preparations any time of the day because she has the protection of her husband and she trusts him. The Hebrew word here for lawful is chok, Strong's H2706, meaning something prescribed or owed, boundary, allotment, portion, ordinance, statute. This word comes from the primitive root hakak, Strong's H2710, which means to cut, inscribe, hack, engrave, decree, carve, scepter, lawgiver. The plural of this word, which is translated as laws, is hukim, and in essence, we get the clear understanding of hukim as being laws cut in stone, which means that they are set and fixed. This word is used in Psalms 119, verse 16. I delight myself in your laws. I do not forget your words. Meaning that his laws are fixed in us like cut stone. And the bride of Messiah sets her husband's words as a cut stone inside her. It doesn't forget it. Whereas the strange woman forgets the words of the Messiah and listens to other voices telling her what to do out of fear and doubt. She has examined the field and takes it. She plants a vineyard from the fruit of her hands. Proverbs 31:16. The Hebrew word for examine is 2161, zamam, a verb meaning to consider, to propose, to devise. This verb derives its meaning from the idea of talking to oneself in a low voice, as if arriving to some conclusion. It denotes the action of fixing thought on an object so as to acquire it. The bride of Messiah considers her husband's word and fixates her thought so as to acquire it. The strange woman doesn't even consider the Messiah's words. No, she fixes her thoughts on what she wants and tries to acquire it. The Hebrew word for field is H7704, sadeh, and the masculine noun meaning open country, a field, a domain, a plot of land. The primary meaning of the word is a field, oftentimes defined more descriptively as an open field. Field is often a symbol of those in the world that need to be harvested, the lost and those in need. And the bride of Messiah tries to invite those who are lost and in need to the marriage supper of the Lamb. She shall gird herself with strength and strengthen her arms. Proverbs 31:17. The bride of Messiah girds herself with strength, and the Hebrew word for gird is chagar, Strong's H2296. It carries the meaning to gird, gird on, gird oneself, be armed, dressed, come trembling, and can carry the essence of being belted, as in girded up and ready. The Hebrew word that is translated here as herself comes from the root verb mathan, Strong's H4975, which means loins, back, body, heart, hips, waist. What is being expressed here is that the bride of Messiah must be in the ready for her bridegroom. In fact, Paul tells us in Ephesians, stand then, having girded your waist with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness. Ephesians 6:14. The Greek word used in Ephesians 6:14 for girded is perizonimi, Strong's G4024, meaning to gird, be dressed in readiness, and is constructed from two words. One, peri, Strong's G4012, which is a primary preposition meaning about, concerned, around, on account of, and two, zonimi, Strong's 2224, to gird, put on a belt. A bride of Messiah must be ready to speak the truth and stand firm in it and not be afraid to do so. She must surround herself with the truth and put it on and be ready for action. The Hebrew word that is used for strength in Proverbs 31 comes from the word Oz, Strong's H5797, which means strength, might, fortress, power, stronghold. And this comes from the root verb azaz, Strong's H5810, which means to be strong, be brazen, prevail, display boldness. The Hebrew word that is translated as strengthen is amatz, H553, which means to be alert both physically and mentally, be fully alert, awake and not sleep, be steadfast. And it is often translated in scriptures as courageous, which the bride of Messiah is certainly called to be both strong and courageous, alert. The bride of Messiah draws strength from her husband and girds herself with it, and is a secure bride that is not afraid because she knows that she takes shelter in the wings of her husband. She knows that her husband will protect her, but the strange woman has no real husband but considers Satan her temporary one, and he will not protect her, and has no truth on which to rely on or put on. Instead, she puts on the belt of lies and surrounds herself with it. The bride of Messiah is ready for the attack that the lies brings against her, and combats it with truth. She tastes when her gain is good, her lamp does not go out by night. Proverbs 31:18. The Hebrew word that is translated as taste comes from the root verb ta'am, Strong's H2938, which means to taste, perceive, evaluate, decide, and is primarily concerned with eating. David uses this word in Psalms 34:8. O taste and see that Yahweh is good. Blessed is the man that takes refuge in him. The bride of Messiah tastes and sees that Yahweh is good. She knows that Yahweh is good. In other words, he is pleasant, agreeable, and beautiful. This should remind us of what Paul said we should think on. For the rest, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is righteous, whatever is clean, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report, if there's any uprightness and if there's any praise, think on these. Philippians 4:8. This is what the bride of Messiah thinks about. Whatever is truthful, whatever is noble, whatever is righteous, whatever is clean, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report. If we are truly his bride, we are blessed when we do these things and take refuge in him. If not, then as the proverb says, our lamp will go out. Proverbs 13:9, but the lamp of the wrong is put out. However, the bride of Messiah should say of her husband, 2 Samuel 22:29, for you are my lamp, O Yahweh, and Yahweh makes my darkness light. The bride of Messiah does not let her lamp go out, which means that she walks according to the Torah. It does not turn to the right or to the left. That is to say, she doesn't let the words of the Torah be removed from her. She always keeps it in front of her. So, to recap, the bride of Messiah, she is rare and precious. She is trustworthy. She does good. She is hardworking. She is resourceful. She is responsible for her house, for her family, and those around her. She is strong both mentally and spiritually. She is self-confident day and night. She has many talents and skills to help others. All these traits and more gets rid of the strange woman because the bride of Messiah is valued by her husband, and she values him. And because she is valued, she works to please her husband in all that she does. The opposite is true of the strange woman. She has no husband to call her own, and so she tries to find others to be her temporary husband. She is pretty common, untrustworthy. She does evil, and is lazy, and is not resourceful, nor is she responsible to her family. Rather, she makes her family responsible to her. She's pretty weak mentally and spiritually, but pretends she is strong. She lacks talent and skills to help others because she relies on others to selfishly help her. These are all traits we all should avoid and seek to please our husband Yahushua in being a capable bride. In the next teaching, we'll continue looking at the bride of Messiah and see what are other characteristics of both the bride and the strange woman and how to get rid of her out of our lives. If you find this teaching a blessing, please be sure to bless others by sharing, commenting, liking, and subscribing to the channel. Thanks. And Yahweh's love, compassion, and shalom be to your homes.